Here we look at some reacting mass and percentage yield calculations. I'm going to start off now. It says 15 grams of hydrogen is added to an excess of nitrogen, and at equilibrium 24 grams of ammonia is formed, and we've got to calculate the percentage yield of this reaction. Now, in nearly all of these type calculations, the first thing you need to do is work out the theoretical yield. So we're saying that we've got 15 grams of hydrogen here. First thing we want to do is work out what the maximum theoretical yield of ammonia you could form, and this is really just a reacting mass calculation. And in these reacting mass calculations, we always follow three steps. First thing is to work out the moles of the substance whose mass is given. So we work out the moles of hydrogen. Always work out the number of moles of the substance whose mass is given. So work out the moles of hydrogen. And remember that moles is mass over mR. So we've got 15 divided by 2, which gives us 7.5 moles. So that's 7.5 moles of hydrogen. The second step in these type of calculations is to work out the number of moles of the unknown, what we're trying to find out. So working out moles of ammonia. Now, when we're doing this step, we have to look at the mole ratio. And we can see here that 3 moles of hydrogen will make only 2 moles of ammonia. So the mole ratio here is 3 to 2. Okay? So what you've got to think about is, because you've got a bigger number here than you have here, the number of moles of hydrogen is going to be bigger than the number of moles of ammonia. So the number of moles of ammonia, therefore, is going to be smaller. How are you going to make 7.5 smaller? Well, you multiply it by 2 over 3. Okay, the mole ratio is 3 to 2, or 2 to 3, and that gives you 5 moles. So I'm going to just explain that again. This is generally what I think where people usually tend to go wrong. If your mole ratio here is 3 to 2, you've got more moles in your ratio of hydrogen than you have ammonia. So when you're working out these moles of hydrogen, moles of ammonia, you've got to have more moles of hydrogen here because you've got more moles of hydrogen there. So that's kind of you double checking whether it's going to be 2 over 3 or 3 over 2. So you've got more moles of hydrogen and then you have ammonia, and that matches what it says in the equation. What it's basically saying is a 3 to 2 is the same as a 7 to 5 ratio. Step 3 then is to work out then the mass of ammonia. So these are the general steps that we need to follow when working out these reacting mass calculations. And mass is Mr. moles, mR times moles, and therefore we've got the mR of ammonia is 17. Please do not, under any circumstances, multiply that 17 at this point by 2, because that's kind of already been done in this step here. So we never times that mR by 2. Okay, so it's 17 multiplied by 5, and that would give you 85 grams of ammonia. Now, that's what you'd expect if you had a 100% yield, but you haven't. We've only got 24 grams of ammonia. So remember then that percentage yield is the actual mass that you get divided by the theoretical yield, or the theoretical mass, which is the maximum mass theoretically you could get. And that's what we've worked out here. So this here, I'll highlight it, this here is my theoretical mass. My actual mass is given in the question there. So then, also this, I just So this needs to be multiplied by 100 because we're doing a percentage. Don't forget that. So my percentage yield then is going to be equal to 24 divided by 85 times 100, and that gives me 28.2%. Quite a low yield, which is true for this particular reaction. So we've got to remember the steps there. In these percentage yield calculations, we nearly always have to do a reacting mass. When we're doing these reacting mass calcs, follow the procedures, work out the number of moles of the substance whose mass is given, work out the moles of what you're trying to find out using the mole ratio. Once you've got the moles, you'll have the MR, you can work out the theoretical mass, and then use this equation here to work out your percentage yield.